Hey, what's up, guys? Um, I'm gonna make this brief because I am on my lunch break. But yeah, so I don't really know what happened with my last live stream because YouTube pulled the plug on it, and I don't want to blame them. It could have been a mistake on my part, but man, I was pissed off because I covered a lot in that last live stream. So before I get to Trump's new immigration proposal, I just want to briefly recap that last live stream because there was some important stuff I talked about. Um, as it relates to censorship and combating that, um, I issued a challenge to you guys to set up YouTube channels, Facebook pages, Instagram, whatever, and just uh, flip the bird at these tech companies who want to censor opinions. And a lot of our fellow patriots have done that. So, to honor what they've done, I'm going to post links to all of those pages, all of those channels, and I want you guys to check them out. Just subscribe to them, follow them, tell people about them, because at some point they're going to come into play as we move closer to 2020. There's going to be censorship. They're going to kick it up a notch. So I can't post it until after this video's done. Once the stream is over, I can go in and pin it to the comments. So just be on the lookout for that in the next like 20, 30 minutes after this is uploaded. Now, I want to quickly recap that last live stream. Okay, so support Patriot channels. Also, if you want to know my thoughts on that Alabama abortion bill, I uploaded it to my backup channel. So make sure you guys go over there because I'm going to start, as I told you before, I'm going to start uploading videos to the backup channel. That's going to be the primary channel to get videos. I will still use this channel for live streams. Okay, you won't miss that. But if you want to see smaller, shorter videos, go sub to the backup channel, because here's the thing. I picked the right time to start putting more effort and energy into that channel. I want to have two healthy channels going into 2020 because censorship and deplatforming is kicking up. It's not just me, it's much bigger channels that they're messing with, High Impact Flicks, We Are Change. Also, I don't know if you guys have checked out Soph yet, but go check that channel out. The 14-year-old girl Soph, check it out before YouTube takes it down. I give it probably a week. It's already got 2 channel strikes, but that's a great channel. It's chips away at political correctness, which is what we need. We need more people doing that. That girl's brilliant. I wish I could articulate the way that she does, but yeah, check that channel out. Check out my backup channel. Check out your fellow patriots who have set up Facebooks and YouTube channels. I'm going to post links to that. And then also, what else did I cover in that last live stream? Oh, I started to push back against some of the hardline conservatives that think, you know, why do you have that opinion? You're not allowed to have that opinion. Unsubbed, just a lot of people coming at me for um, criticizing Ben Shapiro or criticizing that patriot that went over to Antifa. And I just wanted to reiterate that my name is not Monolithic Mike. I'm not going to agree with everything everybody does just because I'm a patriot and they're a patriot. Period. Point blank. I'm nuanced. I'm principled. I stand by that. Period. Doesn't matter who you are. If I see a problem, I'm calling it out. So I just want to reiterate on that don't expect me to just be some mockingbird. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I covered in my last live stream. So yeah, now I want to talk about his common sense immigration proposals. They just make way too much sense. I'm glad that the discussion in our country is starting to pivot back towards immigration because nothing else that we're proposing, nothing else that we're fighting for matters if we lose our country due to immigration. It's been a problem for decades. It affects everybody. It transcends race, class, gender, all of that. Even though the left tries to make it about race, we all know that it's not. Anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together knows that this is about protecting American citizens first, taking care of our priorities first. So as you guys know, Trump wants to propose, mandatory e-verify. Uh, People are starting to self-deport because he wants to change the laws around what's considered poverty. I think some like 71% of migrants that are crossing the border are on one or more welfare programs. Either they were on welfare programs or they go on welfare programs or both. But 71%, that's way too high. We have a lot of low skilled, low wage, low IQ. It's just the truth. Workers coming over from Central and South America. And with the left using states like California and the left using welfare as a magnet to bring people over because they want that residual voting block. Everybody knows what it is. They've all but said that that's what they want. It's all about illegals. They specifically are prioritizing illegals. Trump has articulated time and time again that he wants merit-based immigration, which means he's not anti-immigrant, he's pro-legal immigrant. I agree. Now, there are some conservatives, super hardline conservatives, much further to the right than me, who don't want any immigration. See, I disagree with that. I want immigration, but I want legal, high-skilled workers that can come over and contribute. Because when you have low-skill wages or low-skill workers coming over, they put down pressure on our wages. And that obviously affects U.S. citizens. They always try to say, they're just doing the jobs that American citizens don't want to do. False. They're undercutting us. You can't compete. See, that's why it's a shit show, because at the same time they're proposing, like the left is talking about, we need a $15 an hour minimum wage. Companies don't want to pay that, and they're not going to pay that. And these workers coming over from other countries, they're willing to work for much less than that. So Trump's proposing that, we tweak things, we get rid of chain migration, we get rid of the diversity visa lottery, and we bring people over who are, and if you're watching this, guys, please give it a like. Please give it a like. We want people to come over here who are going to be able to pass a civics test, people who are going to learn English, which is the language of business, right? No matter what country you're from, English is the language of business. It just is what it is. I know a lot of people are like, that's colonialism, blah, blah, blah. No, don't want to hear that argument. It is what it is. Here we are now. English is the language of business. So for people to come over here and not learn the language, that forces us to adapt as the host country. Like, I guess we need to press 2 for English now because everything's going to be in Espanol, right? That forces us to have to learn Spanish. It should not be that way. You should have to learn the language of the country you're going to. Again, this is all common sense stuff, guys. This isn't like, I'm not spitting anything profound. This is just common sense, right? If I were to move to France right now, I would learn how to speak French. I would fly the French flag. I would do whatever I could to assimilate into their country because it's going to be better for me. I would not go over there and be like, can I get some free healthcare? Can I get free food? Can I get free housing? But that's what the left has all but incentivized illegal immigrants to do. They pretty much broadcast our loopholes so that they can get into our country. So Trump wants to crack down on that. Law and order. Speaking of law and order, thank God. I don't know if any of you guys heard this, any of you that are watching that are from Florida, and I think this is coming from Trump, correct me if I'm wrong, they're, in the next week or so, they're going to start flying, I think, 1,000 illegals down to Florida, specifically down to, what were those 2 counties? Palm Beach County and, I forget the other name of the county, but they're in southeast Florida. They're going to start flying illegals to Florida to drop them off because places like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, they don't have any space. So they're going to just start dropping illegals off in states like this. So I can't overstate the importance of participating in local elections, because in Florida, we elected Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is kicking ass in this state. He's bringing back law and order. And I hope that he pushes back on this, because if you're dropping off illegals here, we don't know anything about them. What are we doing with them? Are they going to just disperse into the state? What's going on with that? As you know, Florida is the biggest swing state in the country, and thank God Andrew Gillum didn't win, because if Andrew Gillum were governor, he'd register them to vote. He'd be like, well, they're here. Let's assimilate them. Let's get them on the ballot. Let's get them to, or let's not on the ballot. Let's get them to register to vote so they can vote Democrat. So thank God Ron DeSantis is on top of that. Florida's not a sanctuary state. I'm sure there's going to be a watchful eye over them, but that's something to keep on your radar if you live in Florida. And again, it's the southeast corner of the state, Palm Beach County, and maybe Broward County. That's the other one I was thinking of. So I'm really hoping that something happens there, because that's not good. That's not good. I'm not feeling that at all. And I believe that was coming from Trump. So law and order is important. Participate in your local elections. Now back to illegals, okay? Citizens trying to immigrate. Again, I am pro legal immigrant. People with skills, people that want to assimilate, not create these cultural enclaves. I have nothing against that, but if you're going to have a cultural enclave, you need to at least know the language and want to assimilate to American culture and way of life. And what I mean by that is, most immigrants, they're seeking a better life, but they don't share our values. They might value the government assistance. Most Americans, believe it or not, most Americans do not want the government in their business. We want to govern our own affairs, right? But if someone's coming over here from a country like Honduras or Guatemala, that's probably all they know is government assistance. So they don't have the values of freedom and liberty and independence and self-reliance. So they don't share our values. Not all of them, but some of them. So if they're coming over here seeking a better life, maybe they're not going to break the law. They still don't share our values, which will, in turn, change our way of life. It shouldn't be that way. We need to know who's coming in our country. It's so common sense. So fun fact about me, back in, I want to say like 2014 or something, shortly after I graduated college, I was eager to get out and explore the world. And for whatever reason, during that time in my life, I visited Canada twice. I went to Vancouver, I went to Toronto, and I loved both those cities. I'm like, man, this is great. I would love to move to Canada. So at the time, I was looking at what it would take for me to get into Canada. Canada had very cut and dry, and it could have changed since then. This is, again, back in 2014. Canada had strict, very cut and dry process for you to immigrate. You either had to be a student, you either had to have like a work visa, or you had to be specifically skilled in some kind of labor category to immigrate to Canada. You couldn't just go over there just because migration is a human right. So even in places like Canada, you have to come in through one of a few avenues, and there's no exception to that. I think they had one other exception where it's like, if you're seeking refuge or something like that, you had to wait in line. You couldn't just show up to the Canadian border and be like, let me in, give me free stuff. It's a human right. You owe it to me. Someone else must pay for it. Point blank, period. That's not how it works up there. It's not how it works in 99.9% of countries. So why is that the case here? This is just common freaking sense. Another thing, and this is how you can defeat the left's argument so easy. They're like, oh, this is about racism. Trump is just being a xenophobe. He doesn't want people from other countries. False. The point is, there are people coming here just circumventing our laws, exploiting the loopholes, and they're doing it because of their geolocation. They're right there. They can walk here. What about the immigrants coming from countries like Africa, or countries in Africa, countries in Southeast Asia? Those are the people that we need to have coming here if they meet the qualifications. And 9 times out of 10, they do, because they're going through the process. They're paying the money. Those are the people we need to try to get over here as well. We need to prioritize legal immigrants from all countries, not just Central and South American countries. So I'm happy this is back on the table. This is something that should have been talked about throughout all this past 2 years since Trump got elected. That's what he got elected on, building a wall. We need to get back to that, move away from these other distractions, continue this battering ram against political correctness, because that's how we can talk about it, call it what it is. Illegal aliens entering the country. We need to be able to talk about it the way that it is, and not talk about it in the left's language and all their euphemism, undocumented workers, migrants. See, even I slip up and I say migrants, undocumented workers. It's illegal aliens. The other thing that the left always leaves out of their argument is, what about the terrorists that come over here? There are people who want to do us harm that sneak in through the southern border. People from overseas. They can fly to Mexico. They can fly to Guatemala. They can go to these other countries and then come right through the country, come right through our southern border. That's the biggest thing, is like, if we don't lock down our borders, if we don't get serious about law and order, cracking down on illegal, unfiltered, unregulated immigration, the country's over. Nothing else we're fighting for even matters, because we will witness the destruction of this country. I've said before, we're being attacked from 3 different angles. There are 3 Trojan horses trying to destroy this country. Number one, socialism. We already know that. That's been well documented, well covered. Half of those candidates running are running on socialist ideology. Number 2, Islam. That's the other thing, the Islamification. I'm just going to get it out of the way. And number 3, globalism, which is illegal immigration, which is immigration. Pretty much, they're just like, they want to dissolve borders, right? Destroy sovereignty, destroy constitutions, and have this global one world government. That's what they're looking for, just like the EU. The EU is the blueprint of what they want for the world. So those 3 things, we have to attack all 3, along with everything else, like abortion and freaking freedom of speech, Second Amendment, all that stuff. All those things we're fighting for are protected under the Constitution. But if we have unregulated immigration, people just coming over, which every immigrant essentially translates to a Democrat voter. If Democrats take power, if they get the White House, if they get the Senate, it's a wrap. I mean, how can we, maintain our country if we don't have the right kind of immigrants coming in here? There's a documentary on HBO if you ever want to check it out. It's called, I forget what it's called, but it's still up there, which I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's still up there. It's like an hour-long documentary. Go find it if you want to watch it. It profiles people from all across the world who immigrated to the U.S. legally. They wave the American flag. They know the Pledge of Allegiance. They're happy to be here. They talk about their stories of living in other countries. A lot of people came from that Soviet bloc in Eastern Europe. They talked about how communism is like the worst thing, and they're happy to be here where America's free. And they did it the right way. And all the focus has been on people who are doing it the wrong way, and how the left is protecting them. They're obsessed with it. They are obsessed. They have a love affair with illegal immigration. Again, like I covered, we all know why that is. It's about a residual voting bloc disenfranchising people like you and me, because we're the ones who are trying to protect the country and protect our freedoms. They're smearing us all as xenophobic, racist, whatever else. That's obviously not the case, because again, if we truly care about immigration, let's diversify it. Let's bring people over from India and other countries who don't have the luxury of crossing a border. The only way we can do that is through a legal, merit-based process where people who have paid their dues, waited in line, learned the language, learn our culture, customs, and traditions, they get an opportunity to come in the country. So I really hope this works out. Really, really hope. I know I've read some stories where they're trying to block money from the Pentagon going towards building the wall. The left they're tripling down. They're trying to they're working so hard. I heard Nancy Pelosi saying like, oh, he wants it merit based. He obviously thinks that people from these other countries, these Central and South American countries, aren't merit based. They're not smart. It's like, no, Nancy, you're the one saying that. By you making that argument, that got disrupted there. By Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats going against Trump on this immigration thing, like, oh, these people, I forgot what they were saying, but pretty much they're using the soft bigotry of low expectations. Same thing they do with blacks and Hispanics in this country. Like, oh, voter ID laws are racist. They're just saying black people are too stupid to get IDs. That's what they're saying. That's what it translates to. So I'm going to wrap this up because, like I said, this will be a short live stream. My lunch break's about over. I really hope that Trump can do something about this immigration. I really hope that Now that Democrats are slowly starting to acknowledge that there is a crisis at the southern border, like I said, people are being flown to Florida now because there's nowhere else to house them. So they're flying them here and dropping them off in counties that are already corrupt. Oh my gosh, DeSantis, please do something. Anyways, guys, just wrapping up. Sub to your fellow patriots who put in the work to set up YouTube channels. I will put that in the live or in the comment section. I will pin it. Sub to those channels, find those Facebook pages, promote them. I'm losing my train of thought. I gotta wrap it up, guys. But I appreciate everybody that supports this channel as always. You guys are warriors. Love you guys. Thanks for subbing. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks. Shout out to the moderators. Thanks everyone that comments. I have no idea why that last live stream got deleted, but as I said time and time again, I can't be down with the left because it's a monolithic echo chamber. You're not allowed to have different ideas and opinions. And so I don't want to experience that on this side. So for the people that don't like what I have to say about Ben Shapiro and the other neocons, sorry. I'm just calling it like it is. You got to deal with it. I'm not going to always agree with everybody. It is what it is. If you don't like it, I mean, you can unsub. That's fine. I know it's a small amount of people, but most of you guys understand where I'm coming from. Even if you disagree with some of the things I say, it's just my opinion. And yeah, go check out Soph's page or her channel. Check that out. Man, there's just so many great channels that you should check out, especially if you're a fan of my content. I find myself gravitating a little bit more towards channels that are not partisan, because I don't want to just assume that, oh yeah, they're Republican or they're conservative, so they're not biased. They're just telling the truth. I just no. So channels like We Are Change, where they're talking about deeper stuff, they're talking about like the Bilderberg Group, other things that affect everyone. They're giving Trump credit where it's due, but they're also criticizing Trump. Check out that channel. Check out High Impact Flicks. Yeah, there's other channels I can't think of right now. China Uncensored, that's a good one. Yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to sign off. Again, go to my backup channel if you want to see my video from yesterday. I posted it yesterday on the backup channel, Magnificent. I'm working with YouTube right now because there's something with the custom URL where it's not popping up. It was Magnificent Uncut, but I tried to change it to Magnificent 813. So I think if you type in Magnificent 813, it should pop up, but you may have to scroll down a little bit. But if you type that in, that's where I'm going to be posting videos for the short term, to get that channel to grow. Once that channel hits, I think 1,000 subs and it's got like 10,000 hours of watch time, it can be monetized, and then I can do live streams there. But for now, I'm going to do live streams on this channel and small videos, regular videos on that channel. So please, guys, go check that out. I'll catch you guys in the next video.